Paul's not here because he's a little bitch.
Welcome to the Bass and Brews podcast, your weekly distraction from other high-quality podcasts. And now, your host, Alex from Swamp Rat Fishing, and the co-hostess with the mostest, the Jabberhammer, Paul Roberts.
Actually, there's no Paul because Paul's a little baby, and he said his tummy hurt, and he's not here, which really is a shame because this is event 2 of the Queen City Chronicles. We've got first place Kinley and second place Landon. This is the first time we've had actual winners on the show, so that's great. Normally we get folks that are like really close, so that's awesome. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing pretty good.
I'm doing great.
All right, so you guys, again, if you guys aren't familiar, we run these event recaps for Queen City Kayak Bass Fishing. They are the one kayak trail you should really be following. I don't even tournament fish, and I follow it. My fantasy fishing league for it is trash because I keep picking Tori and Ryan and Dustin and Hambone. Thank God Wes did better. But yeah, my team is trash now. But it's a really, really, really great trail with awesome anglers. So we're really stoked to have you guys on. Kinley, you got first place. So this event, you could fish 3 different lakes, correct?
4, I believe it was.
It was 4. Which one did you pick?
You narrowed it down like that.
Sorry, you broke up there. It's okay if you don't want to say what lake you were on. That's fine.
You're narrowing it down.
Hold on just a minute. A little technical difficulties. I'm gonna drop you back in a minute. And let's see. While he's reloading, Landon, did you want to divulge what body of water you were on?
Yeah, I'm totally fine with it. I was on High Rock. Anybody who I feel like fishes the various bodies of water that we were fishing. If you simply look at the Tourney X pictures of the fish that I caught / we caught, kind of figure out sort of where things were. But yeah, I was on the always muddy waters of High Rock.
Gotcha. And it seemed like people did better because event 1 looked like it was a struggle bus for a lot of folks. It looked like it was a really tough event. It looked like a lot more people caught him this one.
Yeah, for sure. Event 1, Norman is, as a lot of people probably saw potentially yesterday with the pros, it's a fickle beast. In that cold front that we had coming in, it was rough. Event 1, I only got 4 bites. Now, granted, I managed a top 10, but I only caught 4 fish all day. That was it. Mm-hmm. This one definitely, the bite was better, but the quality of fish on the Yadkin as opposed to the Catawba is just astonishing. The difference. It's a different fish, especially where I was on High Rock, than anything you're going to get at Norman for sure.
Kinley, how about you? Was the bite a little better this event than the first one?
I think still has that wheel spinning.
We can hear you though. Hey, if let's see here.
I've got another computer that's hardwired. I might be able to get back on here.
You're good now.
Yeah, I was.
Cool.
Hey, do me a favor. Go in there and let me see here. Stop your camera. Most people don't watch it anyway, so stop your camera. Usually that helps. So did you find the bite easier? Yeah, you're good now. What was the bite easier in this event than event 1?
Yeah, so I only managed, I think, 3 fish in event 1. So, and I had missed a couple, but I found them all on one dock. So it's not like I was out there just getting bites at multiple places. So definitely easier this time. And I think it was just right place, right time. I fished a little history. I've only been to, I'll tell you, it's High Rock, but I've only been to High Rock twice.
Right.
This was
the how long, Kinley, how long have you been with Queen City?
This is my second full season. I fished a little bit before, the year before. I did their Emerald charity event, and I think I did their season opener on Lake James because that's close to home.
Okay.
And I think I might have done one more out on Norman.
Well, I mean, that's pretty good for only fishing, the trail, 2 years, and already at event 1, you got to win. So congrats on that. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it was. I mean, I'd say it's unexpected. I'm kind of streaky. There are certain times of the year where I'm pretty good, and other times where I struggle. Usually in the spring and early summer, I do pretty good. You get in the fall and winter, I tend to fall off the map. So I have to try to do good early.
About to say, get those points now, then.
Yeah, fall of last year knocked me out of BASS qualifier. I skunked 2 times in a row between Jordan and Murray. But it's just, one fish at Murray would have got me there, and I couldn't pull it off. So the problem is you can only practice those times a year.
Right.
So it's not like you can go back and practice all. So.
Got you. Landon, how about you? How long you been with Queen City?
Honestly, about the exact same amount of time. Last year was my first full season. I fished 7 events 2 years ago. I actually moved from Atlanta just before the 22, or sort of right at the beginning of the 2021 season. Bought a kayak super quick as I could, rock outdoors, and got into Santee. Event 3, I think, of 21 was my first event with these guys. And I hadn't, coming from Atlanta, I hadn't lake fished in maybe 15 years leading up to Santee. So going to Santee, first time on a lake, first time on a kayak, was an experience for sure.
What did you fish before that? Just like creeks or?
So I was lucky enough. My uncle was a FLW pro.
Okay.
So my grandpa fished, my dad fished. We did tournaments on Watts Bar Lake and Kentucky Lake 3 times a year, Smith family tournaments. So I got a lot of good exposure, good coaching from ages 8 to 13. I was a very highly competitive soccer player, played college soccer. So, from there, my weekends were full. I fished a lot of ponds, a lot of, golf course ponds, things of that nature for a long time. Always had a passion for fishing, moved up here. COVID was going. We moved up here to open personal training studios. None of them could open because COVID. So decided to get back into fishing, and sort of the rest is history.
Hell yeah. Kinley, how about you? You been fishing a while, or?
Oh, I've been fishing ever since I can remember. My camera's off now, but I got a picture behind me of me as a kid with my grandfather. Me and Dad, we'd go fishing every Saturday we could, and golf every Sunday. Kayak fishing I've been doing. I think Dad bought the kayak for me when I was 14 years old, and we'd run around in the French Broad River. So that's 24 years now.
Wow.
22 years that I've been fishing. So, but tournament fishing, obviously, just a short period of time. I'd never even thrown a spinnerbait until that Emerald event. Really, I tossed one, but when they were forced to only use a bag of baits that you had, So I fall in love with that spinnerbait. So it did me good this last weekend too.
I've got like a full confession. I've never caught a fish on a fucking spinnerbait ever. It's the second most embarrassing thing. Bottom jig, I've never caught in a fish. Spinnerbait. These fish where I'm at, they hate both of those baits so much. It is insane.
I can't get one on a chatterbait. Tried. Even in this tournament, once I caught the 4th fish and hit 80, I'm like, well, shoot, I'm going to try a chatterbait now. I want to catch one on it. Mm-hmm. And it didn't work out. I ended up going right back to spinnerbait.
I think the chatterbait's one. I've caught fish on that. My waters are usually pretty pressured. So the swim jig is usually the better pick than the chatterbait for me. Landon, what's your style of fishing? Are you finesse or power?
I have been turned into a finesse fisherman from the Catawba chain. Wacky rig and docks is I'm for some reason I'm really good at it. That's what I caught.
Great way to fish.
That's what I caught almost all my fish on, honestly, in this tournament. I was throwing the Pulse, True South Pulse spinnerbait, that red Colorado. If you want to catch spinnerbait fish, go to High Rock Lake, throw that spinnerbait. They absolutely destroy it. But for whatever reason, Saturday they wouldn't bite it, so I just went to my comfort zone. I started throwing a wacky rig on docks and coaled up about 13 inches in the last 2 hours.
Hell yeah.
That's funny you say the pulse, because that's what I was throwing to start the morning as well. And I did catch one on it, but they were hitting that big willow on the top and twisting it up my line. I ended up downsizing to the guppy.
Yep. I had a
so.
paddle tail swim bait on the back, and they were every fish I caught in practice the week before. And then the 2 I caught on it on tournament day ate the entire swim bait. I hooked in the top of the mouth. I mean, they were smashing it. One of them took drag on the strike, reeling it in, hit it so hard, pulled drag on the initial strike. They smashed. High Rock and that spinnerbait are best friends.
Is that lock or is that lake just larges, or does it have what do you guys got, spots out there too, right?
If spots exist there, I haven't caught any.
Okay, so it's just greenfish.
Yeah, I have no idea. Like I said, that's only my second time there.
And how did you guys kind of break down your plan? Like, did you practice and whatever you found out in practice, your initial plan, is that what you actually went with, or did you have to pull an audible before you got there?
I'll let Kinley go. He got the big limit.
All right. So actually, no practice. Like I said, I fished it twice. This is the second time. So last year, if you go back to last year, I finished 4th there. And what I went to was on a recommendation from a friend and teammate, William Queen. And we went to this spot, and where I was going to initially start, there were 2 guys on the bank fishing. They had lights out. They were out there before the sun was. So I never got to hit that spot, but I hit all the docks around it, and I put together a limit. I caught 4 fish. It was a pretty good limit. We ended up winning the team division that year, which I guess you guys landed won it this year, correct?
Yep.
So we won the team division. I finished 4th, and I'm like, well, shoot, that's the only place I know. That's where I'm going to go, because when I was there, those guys that were fishing the bank, one, there was bait being chased, and I caught 1 white bass near them. But they told me that they love to chase bait in this particular area all the time. So I went back and I started fishing, and after about 30 minutes of fishing, the bait just started rolling. And I've got a video out, and you can see it's just nothing but bait being slammed on that rock wall the entire time. And it's just once I figured out the angle of the cast, which seemed to be really important, it just worked out. And it was just, if I saw the bait getting pushed, I could cast and catch one.
Yeah, so me for practice, so last year, this event, I started the morning really good. I caught a 21.75 off a tree that I had caught in a shorter, like 20 and a half, but the thickest fish I've ever caught in my entire life. I think it was 7 pounds, 4 ounces at 20 and a half. There was a bit of a picture controversy with the fish that I was dealing with for a lot of the rest of the day last year's tournament. I ended up catching 1 more fish, had one jump off my board as I was trying to take a picture. And as I was on the phone with Vinny, no fault of Vinny's at all, me, I shouldn't have called him while I was trying to fish. I was fishing, had one on, couldn't get a good hook set, lost it. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, had a good tournament last year. So the idea was to go back to the same spot, go back to the same place, same tree, do everything the exact same. Throw the pulse, throw the black, blue flake, bizbait, sassy stick, same thing. It was 100% blown out. With all the rain we'd had, I mean, that area was so much debris on the water. The water was high. The water was, High Rock's always a little murky, but it was really, really, really tough water conditions there. So I knew I had to sort of reinvent the wheel. I thought maybe I'd go to Baden and get a little bit of clearer water down there. But Baden is just, there's the pressure on that lake is astonishing. I mean, the amount of boats that fish out there, and it's so small. And I knew High Rock may not have, a limit, but I think my 3 fish limit at High Rock might be bigger than my 4 fish limit at Baden, because High Rock's just got so much big fish. So I went in relatively blind, an area that I had liked before, fished it for about 2 hours the weekend before, caught, 2 decent sized bass on that spinnerbait. And I was like, all right, this is where I'm going, whatever. Got there morning of, a couple of my buddies that fished the club, my teammate, another buddy, Mark, There's about 20 yaks at this ramp, and I was not feeling it because where I was fishing is skinny water, and I was just didn't feel like being claustrophobic all day. Almost left, honestly, before I put my kayak in the water. Almost left to go somewhere else, just because it's tough. When everywhere you want to fish, there's somebody on. You're kind of making it up as you go. It's just not a lot of fun. And then they all went somewhere else, luckily. So in the end, it ended up being a really nice day. Scrapped my entire pre-fish plan about halfway through the day because for whatever reason in this area, they weren't on moving baits. I didn't get anything on a moving bait. Went to my comfort zone, found a bite pretty shallow on docks. They were really close to the cover. Lost number 4 3 times under a dock, respooled my entire wacky setup with new line, and the rest is cold up from there.
That's awesome. I feel like you got to not run away from that debris, though. And maybe it's different. Where I'm at in New Jersey, we have the the car seat pattern. When I'm in the river and there's a car seat and a dirty diaper next to it, that's usually the best spot. So, just a little tip, a little friendly tip from New Jersey: fish that trash. It's the best bite there is. What you guys were talking about?
I think every dock on High Rock.
Go ahead.
I think every one of them come with a free pile. Like you couldn't cast under a dock without getting up on something.
Oh yeah, I think I lost 9 wacky hooks, 3 on fish, 6 on just docks. For whatever reason, Yadkin docks are built with 1,000 support beams. I don't really know why. They don't need them, but it's impossible to cast a wacky rig under there and not get caught 1 in every 10 docks.
The worst is when somebody's got like that old wooden busted dock and you're trying to slowly creep that worm along and it just gets stuck in that soft wood and there's no getting it out. It's just you're absolutely screwed.
Yeah, it's definitely, the docks on Norman are built strong, but they're built with a couple poles, not 4,000 support beams, especially Baden. Baden's the worst docks to fish in history for sure.
Is that so? Dock fishing, you mentioned that a couple times. Is that normally how you fish? Is that kind of your style docks, or like are you a shallow guy or an offshore guy? I guess would be the better question.
Well, by default, the lakes we fish in this club, outside of Santee, Murray, docks are probably the number 1 player on most of them.
Okay.
I have a relatively small kayak. I've got a Sportsman 106. Awesome kayak. Freaking love it. It's a tank. I've been in some pretty butt puckering situations, and it's not even remotely been close to anything disastrous. Knock on all the wood now.
Yeah.
But I'm not an offshore guy. I'm just not. I fish shallow year round. So that happens to turn into the lakes we fish. Lots of docking.
That's cool. Yeah, those. I feel like those. I have an Old Town as well. I've got the 126 and that instant reverse. I love fishing docks, and instant reverse makes it so much easier to be able to stay kind of right on that point. A lot easier than some of the other kayaks that don't have that instant reverse that start with H and are overpriced bathtubs.
It's been great. I have no complaints. I've loved every second of it. It's like I said, I'm relatively new to the kayak game, but it's wowed me a couple times. We've had a couple tournaments that it's been scary to say the least with the wind, and it's wowed me every time.
Kinley, how about you?
Last year got pretty rough.
Yeah, it was bad last year around the time that you guys were there.
Yeah, I was in a Pescador Pilot, which did pretty good, but when the wind was blowing at the back of you, you couldn't fight it. It didn't want to turn you over. It was pretty rough. But I hate fishing docks, contrary to everybody else. I can't stand it. It's just something about it I don't like. I don't have the patience for it. I'm more of a shallow water, natural cover kind of person. Now I will fish docks if it gets bright and sunny, and actually that's how I caught my 3 fish at Norman was fishing docks. But I tried to late last year and over the winter focus on trying to fish deeper structure and use my electronics more. And that actually helped me at Norman this year because when I was trying to find something to bite, it ended up being at 25 foot off the end of a dock, fishing it stupid slow, which I don't have hardly the patience for at all. It ended up working out. And even at Kiwi on the Western opener, it ended up being a Ned rig and 25 foot off the ends of the docks that ended up working. So I'm glad I put some attention there, but boy, do I dislike it.
Yeah, I'm different. I hate fishing deep. I'd rather fish what I can see. I hate fishing structure, and I know I need to fish it, but I don't. I probably miss a lot of fish. I don't know. I fish primarily a tidal river, so the whole structure thing kind of goes out the window, I think, at least for the fishery that I'm on. It has more to do with where they can place their bodies in the current. Matters more than structure on the bottom. So
yeah, growing up fishing the French Broad, the shoals out here, you find an eddy, you cast in it.
Mhm.
That's the only place you cast it. You find a big rock that's got swirls around it, that's where you're going to catch them. Started out in the Old Town Loon, 138. It's like a 13-foot 8-inch touring sit-in kayak. Still have it. Dad has both of them at Lake James. They do great in the wind, fast. They're only at 40 pounds, but you can't stand in it.
What are you in now?
When you got to go to the bathroom, that helps.
What kind of kayak are you in now?
I have a native Slayer Max 12.5. I picked it up at the Yadkin event last year from Shane at Rock Outdoors. I fished in my pescador. My rudder cable broke while I was there. And it got a little windy. We loaded it up on the trailer, went over to Rock Outdoors, picked up my brand new one, and I drove it home, and I've been fishing out of that one since.
Those are good boats. Native's one of those weird brands where I feel like I don't see them a lot. Like I see Hobie and I see Old Town everywhere. But I don't see Native a lot, but every time I've talked to somebody who has one, I've never heard complaints about them. So
I like the boat for what it is. It's a good boat. I upgraded the steering to the spring blade. I have some complaints, but I don't think there's any boat you're going to have that you're not going to have some kind of complaint. There's a trade-off with everyone, whether it's weight, balance, speed, something like that. My old Pescador, I could do almost 5 miles an hour in it. This one, I'm lucky to do 4.5, and I'm tired in 10 minutes. So there's a trade-off.
Yeah. Well, there's no trade-off. You just get an Old Town. You got the best of everything. Just joking. No, Old Town does have a down. Hobie's storage solutions are way better than Old Town's. I feel like on Old Town there is some wasted space that they could have added in some better storage solutions. But
that's the number one reason I didn't buy an Old Town when I was looking for a new one, was the fact that behind the seat the space was so much smaller. And the Native just has all that. It's massive back there. They squared it off.
Yeah.
But it doesn't turn well going backwards, which none of them really do. But when you're fishing around docks, especially, and that wind starts blowing, you need to go backwards and turn a little bit. That Native just won't do it.
Yeah. I feel like you got to be more creative in the Old Town to make. I'm going through it right now. I'm trying to find the best solution to hold everything. And I just wish we had that hole in the middle that a Hobie has. That tray insert right in the middle. I would love that. That would make my day. But yeah.
The main thing I want with my Old Town is the ability to not have to take the picture of the fish on my lap. The Natives and the Hobies, you can put your entire catch board in the middle of the kayak.
Yeah.
I got to take it on my lap, and it's a dangerous prospect on spotted bass fisheries, especially. Largemouth, for the most part, lay down and just sort of take it. But spots, they're angry. They're angry to get on that board.
Yeah, you got to
treacherous.
Put that net at the bump.
Say that again.
You got to put that net at the bump. Now, the Slayer Max isn't actually wide enough for the 26-inch catch board to sit flat. I lean it up on the side of it, and I put my left foot under the bump to help support it. Now, when you're putting 21-inch fish on there, it gets a little difficult, but it's I think the Titan, the 26 will fit flat, which would be nice. I know what you're talking about, but I usually leave it inclined and just angle my camera so I don't get open mouth penalties because you can't see the mouth.
What's also an aspect, I'm a small guy, so for those who listening/watching, I'm only 5'6", so those bigger kayaks, I tried a couple of them, and I literally couldn't reach the front in the back from my seated position. I couldn't reach my broads at the back. And I was just like, I'm going to be really pissed off if I'm always having to like beach my boat to fix a rudder, to get into the front hole or whatever that is. So I'm with the smaller one, and it's great. I drive an SUV as well. I just shove it in the back of the SUV which helps. I don't have a truck like a lot of people. I don't have a trailer either. But being a smaller guy, this 106 seems to fit me well for sure.
Yeah, when I was looking at them, I went to the bigger one just because I was coming out of a 12-foot kayak, and I wanted to have like just a 12-foot paddle, right? So I wanted somewhat on the size, but like I was looking at Hobie, and then I'm like you have an SUV, so I was like, Hobies are fucking heavy. They're so heavy, and like the Old Town that I have now, it's still like, I mean, I've got a system down, but it involves a lot of bath mats and like laying that thing over and pushing it up over the top. So yeah, I mean, that is a huge upside. And that 106, I got a lot of friends who have that 106 and they love it. It's such a speedy little boat too. So
I just shove it in the back. Anybody who see me driving on the road, it looks like it's going to fall out. It's not. It's
why
well
don't you put it on the top?
in.
Why don't you put it on the top?
The SUV I have has a moon roof. It'll shatter the moon roof.
You don't have bars?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I used to take both of those 14. I'd take both those 14-foot Old Town loons and shove them in the back of a Honda Odyssey and tie the rear hatch down on top of them, and we would go float the French Broad River with it. So I got you. I feel that.
Yep. It might look like it's going to fall out. It might look like it's loud. It is loud. It is cold. With the door open for sure, but other than that,
carbon monoxide poison.
Yeah. As long as I'm driving fast enough, I don't get the exhaust in there. Stoplights get questionable, but it works.
I can't even imagine. I've lived in a small town in South Jersey, and I got pulled over for my kayak once because I didn't have that stupid flag on the back of it when it was on top of my car, and but it was like positioned to like it was only like 5 inches sticking out. And this guy was like, hey, man, he was giving me a really hard time about it. I was like, listen, dude, like, he's like, well, it's a hazard. I'm like, if somebody hits the kayak, they are so far up my car's ass, I don't think the kayak matters at that point. And he just looks at it. He goes, all right, you might have a point. And that was one of the few ways I've gotten out of a ticket.
I got a red flag on it. It lives on it permanently. But I somehow haven't had anybody pull me over and be like, is that going to fall out? Like, not really, but maybe.
That's what insurance is for. It'll be all right.
Haven't had it happen yet, so I can't say no, but I can say it hasn't happened yet.
All right, so what's the next event for Queen City?
The Fickle Santee for me.
Okay. Is that stop number 3 or is there?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you not fishing that one, Kinley?
I'm fishing Santee, but on the 18th, so not this Saturday, but the next one is the Southern Opener on Murray.
Okay.
Like I said, Murray ruined my season last year, so I'm going to go back, and it's either going to hurt my feelings again, or I'm going to try to maybe I can follow up 2 good finishes in a row. So.
Oh, that's for the. Oh, I forgot. Queen City did the Southern Division this year too, right?
Yes, I'm mostly going to be Western and Maine, but like I said, with Murray coming up, and then I believe we have Murray again on the Maine at some point, and I thought it would be a good idea to go ahead and go out there and see if I couldn't figure something out. Those flat lakes I have trouble with. Put me up in the Saluda, I do okay, but you put me out on that flatter water, I tend to struggle trying to find the fish, which is what got me last year. I like to fish those transition lines deeper to shallow water with laydowns and stuff, and I just had trouble finding that.
All right, let's do some bold predictions. Landon, let's start with you. So why don't you tell me for Santee, since that's the main one that we'll do another show for this for, why don't you tell me the inches that it's going to take to win and what place you think you'll get?
Man, I tell you, Santee and I have an interesting relationship. I've had 82 inches for 4 in practice. Very next day skunked. Santee was the first, obviously, like I said, first tournament. Bold prediction. based on what I've heard and seen, we're gonna have a pretty good sight fishing tournament potentially. Big fish there. I think it's gonna be another 80. I hope Kinley's big 4 isn't broken, but I think it's certainly possible. Winner 79.5.
Okay.
The area I plan to fish, I've gotten 83 inches for best 4 out of before. I've also gone back and had 0 bites in 4 hours before.
And what are those GPS coordinates?
I'll just say the southern part of the lake, the southern shore of Marion.
Yeah. The southern part of the lake that's wet.
The southern shore of Marion. I couldn't even. I mean, for me, I'm hoping for a limit, and that's it. A limit there can be anything. It can be 80 inches. It can be, 65 inches. But I'm hoping for a limit, and that's as much as I can go. I hate it. I love it. I've broken rods on 10-pounders. I've lost rods in trees. So anything can happen on Santee.
And then probably the most important question, Landon, is Tori, the Bass and Brews historian, going to catch more than 1 fish at this tournament?
Because I feel like it's going to be sight fishing able, maybe not easy. I think everyone's going to catch at least a fish.
Okay.
With the warmth, we missed it by about a week last year, same date. We missed it by about a week.
Right.
I think with the warm, the cooler, the next couple weeks, I think we're going to be right on it. So everyone, if it's right, everyone should catch a fish. Absolutely.
All right. So officially, Landon said, Tori, you're still going to suck, and you're only going to get 1 fish. That was Landon's official statement.
Everyone should catch at least 1 fish. That's all I'm saying. Everyone, if they're sitting on beds, everyone should catch at least 1 fish.
Kinley, you, bud. So same question to you. The first 2, how many inches do you think, and how do you think you're going to do?
So I hope that what I have now stands for the rest of the year, because I feel like that's a pretty good limit for that end-of-year award. But with that being said, it is Santee, and I think it'll probably fall. I believe probably in the neighborhood of 83 inches, 84 inches.
Yeah.
But I think it will fall. I have 82.5. So like I said, I hope it doesn't. But as far as where I'll finish, I don't know. This event last year, I had the flu. I drove all the way down there. I fished for half a day. I caught 3. 2 of them jumped out of the boat, and I left and went home. And I slept 16 straight hours. I went back for the native big bass and pulled 63 inches out of the same place on 4 fish. So I'm hoping that I can catch a limit. But like I said, I'm not very experienced with it. And I think I would like to think that I could pull 60 inches out and finish somewhere in the middle of the pack. Being that it's another flat land lake, because they'll have what I typically look for. I don't expect to do extremely well. But I think like Chris Gravely could go back out there and pull another, big day, throw 84 inches on the board and take it again.
And then instead of Tori, because Landon already expressed his lack of confidence in her being able to catch more than 1 fish, and I agree, Landon, fully. How many anger-inducing moments do you think Dustin, Hands-On Adventures, and Hambone are going to have? Because they both had some very angry moments from this event, this last one. So how many? Let's do a cut line of 4. Do you think they're going to have more than 4 anger-inducing, I'm quitting fishing moments, or less?
Oh man! All right, so you put me on the spot. So I told Hambone on his last video that I could relate to him because me and him have similar temperament. It's really easy to piss me off, and so I think he could potentially have more than 4, especially if he casts them into the cypress trees. They're way lower to the water than the one that he casted in.
I wanted to be kind of mean, but Hambone, the fish are in the water, right? Not in the tree. It's fishing, not birding.
I've done it.
But then Dustin,
as far as Dustin goes,
Yeah,
as long as he doesn't forget his drive and his truck doesn't break down, he will be fine.
Well, I think his problem was he forgot his hooks, because if you saw what he's been putting on social media, he's losing a lot of fish, and I think we've kind of cornered it down that he's not using hooks. I think he's just using Play-Doh, and he's just hoping that the fish miraculously make their way into the boat.
I was actually across the channel from Hambone when he fell in, and he thought I saw him, and I didn't, and I'm severely disappointed that I didn't see the whole debacle of him going in the water. I saw the aftermath. I saw him at launch. We were the only two that went the direction we went, and he was wearing pants. And then I looked over the channel, and he was wearing shorts, or at least had him rolled up. And I was like, I wonder if those are zip off at the knee pants. Like, those are fancy. But apparently he had to change because he fell in the water. And I'm sad that I missed it. I was too busy culling up 5 inches on him across the channel to notice that he had fallen in the water.
All right, guys.
I could probably handle it better than I did.
I'm glad I don't have a YouTube, because there would be too much editing, especially on times like I missed like I said, I lost number 4 breaking off under a dock, set the hook solid as all get out, couldn't get it out to save my life 3 times and there were times where the rod almost went in the water, and then also I almost went in the water out of just wanting to end it because I just didn't want to do it anymore.
Listen, those are the best moments.
I don't have one.
No, you keep those in.
YouTube. Too much editing. It'd be
Jabber.
too much.
Jabberhammer's not here, but he's got one of the best quotes on the show. If you want to go famous and you didn't catch a fish, you need to fall in the water, hook somebody with a hook, or shit your pants, and then you're internet gold. So
I tell you, so I've made a habit of last minute big catches. I caught the 21.5 to cull about 5 inches at, I think I put it on the board at 250. 259 is the last one. A little bit of poo came out. I won't deny that. A little bit of poo came out. On Hartwell, I ended up with big bass. I caught that one with 3 minutes left, 22.75. And that was a fight and a half. Because if you've ever been on Hartwell, between the cover, the docks, and the freaking cables connecting the docks, it's a nightmare of a place.
The cables are the worst.
It's a nightmare of a place. And I had a 22.75 on 8-pound test fluorocarbon, and not only poo, some pee, some F-bombs, some prayers. Jesus made its way in there, but I got it in. So that's all that matters.
All right, while we got you there, Landon, we're gonna give you this opportunity. Shout out anybody you'd like to. Floor is kind of yours as a closing here.
I don't necessarily have anybody to shout out. Lunkers and Loggers is my Instagram. Kind of follows Bass and Brews, oddly enough. I post pictures of my fish and the beer that I drink afterward. And that's basically what I do.
Hell yeah. Wes was on the show last week, and he had the best one. We were like, is there any companies, anything? And he goes, yeah, I have 3 sponsors I'd like to thank. Me, myself, and I, because nobody pays for me to do this shit. And I was like,
thank you.
Damn, Wes.
Thank you to my wife, who printed out our wedding vows that literally said, I vow to let you fish more, that I bring up at least 3 times a week.
Wow.
So thank you. Shout out to her wedding vows.
Nice. It's good. Kinley, same question, man. Anybody you'd like to shout out? Anything you'd like to say before we close this out?
All right. I want to shout out Vinny just because he runs a great show. Everybody in this group is friendly. I haven't met anybody that wasn't a friend. Everybody's a winner. You can go to weigh in and win something if you didn't fish well. Alan Amick, A Square Custom Baits. He keeps my bag full of soft plastics. He makes some awesome baits. They have great action, and I've put together some pretty good bags with them. But most importantly, I want to thank my wife, Lauren Martin. We teamed together our Life Unhooked YouTube channel. She watched me. She had pretty much done fishing by the end of this tournament, and she sat and watched me cull up 2 more inches and finish where I did, and supported me. And it was fun to share that moment with her. The only thing, like I said, the only thing that would have been better than me catching it was if I could have watched her catch them. So that's the goal. I'm trying to teach her. I want to get her to the point. I want to see her put together a big bag and walk up there in front of everybody and take home a plaque. That's the goal for now. So
that's awesome. We'll just make sure she doesn't fish with Tori, and she'll catch fish. All right, everybody. Yeah, this has been Queen City Chronicles, event number 2. I just got a text, though. We have an update on Paul's health. We just found out, and it's breaking news, that